morning and a very warm welcome to Frugal Phone. Thank you for joining me today. I hope that the month of May has been great for you so far. And if you're doing a low or no spend month, I hope it's going so well. Please let us know in the comments below how it's going. So if you don't already know the backstory about my low and no spend year, so far so good for the most part. So yeah, I am doing a low and no spend year. So I've called this month for me, for this wee challenge, Modest Spend May. So I thought I would just pop on here this morning for a mid-May chat. Usually I have a pattern of videos. So usually this week I would be doing a Thursday and a Saturday upload. So if you check out the playlists, sorry, I'm going to get some more coffee in a second, still sleepy. If you check out the playlists, so on this week I do a Thankfulness Thursday video and a Slowing It Down Saturdays video. And then on the opposite week I do a Thrifty Tuesdays video and a Slow Cooker Sundays or Budget Savvy Snacks video. So I'm not usually on here on a Tuesday on this week, but I thought since we're in mid-May already, I would pop on and have a wee chat about how it's going so far this month. So just a quick recap about what budget I set for myself each month. So what I do is I'm giving myself, during this low and no spend year, I'm giving myself, it was £27.50 a week food budget. I've just now this month reduced it to £25 a month, £25 a week. So £100 for the month. We do have a 5-week month this month, I think, but I'm still going to try and squeeze it to £100 for my food budget for May. Now I say food budget, but it actually, so it covers the food, but it also covers household items like things like toilet roll, say anti-bac wipes or washing up liquid, those kind of things, laundry liquid, but it also includes cleaning products as well. So food, household and cleaning products, toiletries, and it also includes anything like, say for example, if I was to buy painkillers. So I don't need to pay for prescriptions in Scotland, so that is a godsend. So when I say about medicines, I'm talking over-the-counter purchases, like for example paracetamol. So they're all the categories in that £25 a week budget. And with the cost of living at the moment, which is just horrendous, and it's very frustrating for all of us, and I'm sorry we're all going through this, it really is a pain in the bahookie, but despite that, I am trying to stick to this challenge as best I can. The reason being, I'm not doing this and being frugal to be miserly or something. I just feel that if there are ways to healthily cut back on this budget to stay within this limit, it gives me more freedom in other areas of my life. So it's really just a case of prioritising. So my cat Bella, I have a separate budget each month for her needs because she's not on a low or no spend. So I don't want the kitty to be deprived of anything. Not that I feel deprived, I don't, because what I do is I try and not make it a game, but I try and inject a bit of fun into it. I try and use it as a way to kind of stretch myself and learn and grow each month and just see how I can adapt, really. So what I will say is the pattern I tend to have with that part of my budget each month is at the beginning or near the beginning of the month, I tend to do a big online Asda shop, get it delivered for £1.50, which is amazing. I don't drive, so it's a godsend because it saves me having to carry all these heavy things. So I use it especially for tins and heavy stuff. And in particular, I always make sure I get stock up on Bella's tins of cat food. So doing that, usually in the first week or 2 weeks, I've gone over the £25 a week limit. So it just means that there's less for weeks 3 and 4, which is fine, because then it balances out in the end. So the other thing, if you saw my last video, you'll have noticed a lot of yellow sticker items. So my kind of way of staying within budget, what I tend to do, as I say, is do the big online shop for the bulk of the stuff. I do menu planning around that. I shop at the beginning, I plan my menu, but as much as possible, I plan my month's menu around what I already have at home. So I've made a video previously, I'll add a little thing here. If you click on it, it won't go there because I'm not that tech savvy yet, but at least you'll see what to look out for in the playlist. But this video that I show here, it is about how I go about that process of menu planning and doing stock check and things like that before the shopping. And that again helps keep costs down. So the online shop's the biggie, and then around that for the rest of the month I do top-up shops, but wherever possible I try and prioritize yellow sticker items, just as you saw in the last video. If I get a really awesome selection of yellow sticker items, then I can adapt what I'm eating and change the menu, tweak it a bit, prioritize and use up these fresh yellow sticker things before they spoil. Maybe batch cook with the yellow sticker things if there are going to be parts of that that could be freezable for future meals, because then I can just rejuggle what's on the menu. And say, for example, there's a frozen meal that I was going to have, because I do a lot of batch cooking, so that there's frozen meals, especially for busy days. It makes things a lot easier to pull out a frozen meal, and then there isn't as much temptation to have something naughty that's more expensive. So then it's easy to just rejig things on the menu to use up the fresh thing on another day, or that was on the menu already, or if it's a frozen thing, it can just stay in the freezer and then that's another meal for another time. So that kind of sums it up as far as how I plan my food shop and how I plan my spending around that. So far so good. As I say, because it's been an online shop that I did last week, and I've done some top-up shops as well. So at the moment I'm over budget, but as the month goes on, the top-up shops will be much smaller because I've got everything I need for my menu for the whole month, and I have all the soya milk I need and things like that. So there really isn't any need to be buying any other food now. And it also keeps temptations at bay as well, because there isn't really the need to pop to the shops again now. So unless something unexpected crops up. So I should be well on track. At the end of the month, I do a video about how this month has gone. I'll go into all the numbers then in more, well, I say in more detail. I'm not going to go into numbers today at all. Excuse me. I will go into all the numbers then and break it down and show you what it looks like and how I organise this information to help you keep on track. So, without further ado, I'm going to show you a bit of footage from when the online shop arrived and what was in the big shop this month. A lot of stock up items this month. A lot of bulk purchases and things like multi-buy juice and that sort of thing. After that, I'll be back and we can have a chat about the other aspects of my budget that has been majorly adapted this year to do a low and no spend year, to cut down on these expenses, to be able to try and prioritise and save for other goals, including to make a start on working towards getting this kitchen done. That is a big future goal, but if I can try and make even a little headway this year towards that goal. I've already achieved the first goal with the computer. That was fantastic. I was delighted about that. So I'll be back shortly and we can chat about sinking funds and how they help with staying on track, and I'll show you a couple of yellow sticker items so far this month. See you soon. Hi again. I forgot to mention another aspect of the food budget each week is that I buy one item a week for the food bank. So by the end of the year, I will have 52 items to donate to the food banks. This is really important to me because it makes me very sad that things are that difficult, that people are struggling to afford food. It's so wrong that it should have got to that point. So I want to be able to give in some way to help people. And even though I'm on a small budget myself, that is one thing that I could factor in, that I feel that at least I'm trying to do something to help. Because usually I'd be spending more money in the charity shops, but not this year. There's a little bit, but a lot less than there would be. So I meant to factor that in as well. So a big part of my food shopping for the month of May has been this online shop. So as you can see, there's a wide variety of different kinds of things. Some household things and some stocking up items, although that tomato ketchup is tiny. That's the thing, like when I saw that on the Asda app, I didn't bother to check the volume. I just assumed it would be a decent size, but look at it. Pitiful, teeny tiny ketchup. But anyway, never mind. It's a stock up item, so it's fine. I'll get to it eventually. I've still got other ketchup in the fridge to use anyway. So there's some, as I say, household, there's some toiletries, there's some painkillers. Yeah. So the baked beans, I won't be eating that many tins of tomatoes or tins of baked beans or chickpeas or mixed bean salad. I don't intend on eating all of those in May. I'd feel sorry for anyone within a mile radius of me if I ate all those baked beans. Anyway, sorry, too much information. It's a thing that afflicts all humans, I think, or most humans probably. Anyway, changing the subject, a lot of those are stock up, but there are a lot of things in this, and some of that pasta too will be, but there are things here that are also... Sorry, my brain is very tired. Some things are stock up items and some things are bought with the menu plan in mind specifically. In fact, a lot of the things are. But what I will be doing is I'm going to try and bulk out some of the recipes. So for example, I've got lasagna sheets to use up to make a big batch of veggie lasagna. See a previous video for how to do that in the slow cooker. One of many ways probably, but I show you an example how I like to do it. But I'm going to go heavier on the aubergine and courgette. And then there's also some courgette that an aubergine I'll put towards doing like another ratatouille pasta batch or something. But just to try and use less carbs and have more veggies to bulk out the carbs. Well, I'm not sure the carb content of those veggies, but it will certainly be lower than things like the pasta. So it's to try and eat more healthily, lose some weight, and just from a blood sugar point of view, and just in general, I want to get my portions of, sorry, I'm very tongue-tied tonight, get my portions of carbs down as much as I can, just from a, as I say, blood sugar health point of view and energy levels point of view, because I think having a lot of carbs makes me more tired. It's more for the body to, energy for the body to process, isn't it? And there is a nosy little chickie over here. Speaking of the chickie, no big Asda shop would be complete without stocking up on her things. And then there's also some frozen things. Again, I don't need that many portions of peas or sweet corn for the things on the menu, but it will help towards, some of it will go towards that, and it's also to stock up because they're things I get through a lot of. And the meat-free mince too for a like a veggie chili kind of recipe. Well, I've shown you in a previous video, I've shown the recipe for that. But I think I'm using some of that for something else on my menu too. But at this point in the day, I cannot remember. Right, that's me back. So this is a typical example. Wholemeal pita wraps, 16 pence. Ah, what a deal. It says was 38 pence, but they're actually normally about £1, and you get 8 wraps. They freeze really well. So I bought 3 of these, couldn't leave them at that price, stuck them in the freezer, and they are just a really great, cheap, easy way, to add some carbs to a meal in a portion controlled way, and it helps keep costs down, and they will last for ages, and I can easily plan some lunches on the go around those. So bread products are another great yellow sticker item. I always go and check that out in Asda, and sometimes you get things that are under 50p, sometimes even as cheap as 10p. It doesn't happen as often as it used to, but it's fantastic when that happens. So I bought some bread related products and a couple of other great sort of lunch picnic type items that were yellow sticker last week. They're in the freezer right now. I'm going to show you them at the end of the month and have a chat about what I have in mind for those, because that's all going to be coming up in a video in June. So watch this space. So talking about sinking funds. So what I do with sinking funds is they help me stay on track. They help me work out and plan ahead for things in my budget that I know are going to come up that could potentially have derailed my budgeting goals for the year. So rather than seasonally, I keep my overall budget every single month the same, but through the year, certain months there are things that come up that cost more. Like for example, this month, Miss Bella is going to be going to the vets. So I know that it's going to be probably between £100 and £150 for her regular checkup and her jags and everything. All being well, fingers crossed, that I think she's a pretty healthy kitty. So I know that I needed to have that money at the ready. So having the sinking fund's great. So for a sinking fund, I work out what I need for the year for that item, and then so I can work out per month what I need to put away towards that, and then it makes it manageable, breaks it down into manageable chunks so it's not overwhelming. So I'm not going to use my maths brain right now without more coffee, but that amount, I think it's either £12.50 or £15 I put in each month, something like that. I can't quite remember. I've been adjusting it a little bit each month as well, but I put a set amount in every month so that I knew that then by May I've got that money. So that's one example. Another example is my Christmas and birthdays sinking fund. So I put more into that. It means that there's a little bit to draw from each month as people's birthdays come up. And then the idea is that by Christmas there should be hopefully enough in there for all the remaining gifts, foodie items, that kind of thing. But what I tend to do is I will buy things through the year as I see them for people. When I see something and I know it's going to make a great gift, I'll just snap it up and I keep it stored in a box. And then that helps spread the cost as well through the year. But having the sinking fund there really helps. I'm still experimenting with finding the sweet spot for how much to put away each month for that. But this year I've actually got quite a head start on the gifts, so I'm not needing to put away as much each month as I probably will in future years, which is good because this is a lower spend year than typical. So they're 2 examples of seasonal things. So I actually have 10 sinking funds. Now, I know that sometimes people will have one sort of pot for things that come up. And if that works for you, then fantastic. It's finding the way that works best for you. So I know for me personally, having my 10 sinking funds, I really like that because it makes it really clear what's there in each category. It just, to me, it sounds complicated, but it actually makes it more straightforward because I can look at a glance and see where I stand in these categories. And it means I'm not risking overspending in one particular category and leaving myself short for another. So let's run through what the 10 sinking funds are that I use. So as I say, there's vets, there's Christmas and birthdays, there's swimming. So at the moment I can't because I broke my arm at the end of the year, so I'm not yet able to swim. But normally it's a lot cheaper for me because I like to swim 3 or 4 times a week if possible, usually. So it's a lot cheaper because it's about £5 per swim. It's probably gone up since then. So if I buy an annual pass just for the swims, it's far cheaper. So for me, it makes a lot of sense to do that. So I just put a little away each month into a sinking fund for swims. So let's start again, sorry. Christmas and birthdays, vets, swims, a holiday fund. So I either have one slightly bigger trip or 2 wee trips with that fund. Usually around my birthday month in June I go away, and then perhaps November or December for a wee trip. And anything I don't spend for the summer trip can then just get put back in and go towards the winter trip, so it's great. There's also a day trips fund, so I give myself £15 a month for that. There's a social fund, which is £10 a month. There's 2 seconds, I just need to jog my memory. Oh, there's a essentials and stock up fund. So I'm putting in 15 a month to that at the moment. So with that one, it's things like, say I needed batteries, or I am saving up for a Hoover, that kind of thing. Things around the house or little odd items here and there that I need. Or if I'm stocking up on things like, say, the ketchup and the mayonnaise, they came out of that fund this month. There's research and studies. So I'm learning about a few different topics at the moment that really interest me. So it's good to have a bit of money available towards any stationery that's needed or books, but I'll always try and get them secondhand. So there's a little fund for that. I think it's only £5 a month now. There's the allotment. So that's £10 a month to buy things like packets of seeds, that sort of thing. And finally, there is a sinking fund called the Blunderbuster or the Treats Fund. So at the beginning of the low and no spend year, I was doing reasonably well, but I think I just felt a bit too restricted. So it's a low spend year, but I call it a no spend year as well, because the idea is no spending out with certain parameters. So that's the limits of the sinking funds and the food budget. But there was no treats fund at the beginning of the year, and I think I just felt a bit too restricted, and in February it went a wee bit pear-shaped and I ended up blowing my budget that month because I ended up spending some money that I shouldn't have and bought things that I didn't need to buy. And it was a bit of an emotional spend, but I've learned from it and I wanted to share about that experience and what I learned from it. So one of the big adjustments that I made going forward was having a treats fund, which is £15 a month. So that started from March onwards, and it's been a game changer. It's really helped me, and it's helped me stay on track well. So I'm really happy to have that sinking fund. It's been an important change and an important one to introduce. So as I say, please let us know in the comments how your modest spend May is going, how your budgeting is going. introduce yourself. We'd love to hear from you. And thanks a million for watching today. And it's ended up being quite a long video, so thanks for sticking with me, and great to have you here. See you next time. See you on Thursday. Best wishes. Bye.